Good morning, everyone. In the last class, we have studied about the linked list and various operations on the different type of linked list we have studied. In addition to that, I'm leaving two topics up to you. First topic is sparse matrix and its representation. Sparse matrix and its representation. Second one is polynomial representation. Polynomial representation using linked list. And third one is abstract data type. Abstract data type. So these three topics I'm leaving up to you, and you have to study these three topics in the unit 1 by yourself. In this lecture, this is your unit 2, unit 2nd, and this unit is starting from stack. So stack is a type of linear data structure. I have told you in the very starting of my lecture that data structure is of two types. First one is linear data structure. And second one is non-linear data structure. So linear data structure is one in which we are storing and accessing the data sequentially. For example, if we talk about array, in array you can store the data sequentially in a contiguous memory location. And you can also access the data sequentially and randomly anywhere. In a similar fashion, stack is also a linear data structure where the data can be stored linearly and can be accessed sequentially. Now, what is non-linear data structure? In which the data are not stored sequentially and cannot be accessed linearly. Linear access means the order in which we have inserted the element in the same order we cannot access the element. That is called the non-linear data structure. So stack, I've already told you that data structure is of two types. First one is the linear data structure, second one is the non-linear data structure. And the linear data structure contains the three types, that is the array, queue and stack. Now in this unit, I will focus on the stack data structure. Okay. So what is linear data structure? In linear data structure, data are arranged in the linear sequence. And data item can be traversed in a single run. Okay. So in linear data structure, elements are accessed and placed in the contiguous memory location. Okay. If the element is not placed or accessed in the contiguous memory location, then it is called as the non-linear data structure. Now, what is stack? Stack is a LIFO type data structure. It is no doubt first we have studied that linear data structure. Also, it is called the LIFO type data structure. LIFO, the full form of LIFO is last in, first out. Last in, first out. Means the item inserted last is retrieved first, or the item pushed last is popped first. Okay, this means that the last thing we have added is the first thing that we have to pull off. So you can understand it by the plates of stack of plates in a party. You have gone to the some party and you have the stack of plates. So obviously the last inserted plate you will take first. You cannot take the last item here. You are only bind to pull the first plate. The last plate placed, you can pull that first plate. This is the same sequence. A stack is a sequence of the item that are accessed at only one end of the sequence. What we can access the element from only one end means from this end we can insert the element, we can insert the plate, and from this end only we can pop the plate or we can take the plate. Okay, so this is only the three things we have concluded from here. First one is the stack is a linear data structure. Second one is stack is a LIFO type data structure. An item can be inserted. Item can be inserted or deleted from only one end. Okay. So example of the stack, I've already told you that the stack of plates, the last inserted plate you will take first. You can, okay, or the stack of books in the library. So the last inserted book you will take first. Okay, this is what about the example of the stack. Now I have left this topic up to you. Stack as an abstract data type. So as an abstract data type, any structure, any data structure can be defined by the two things. First one is the object and second one is the functions that can be used with the stack. So what is the object it contain? It will contain a finite order with zero or more elements. Means the stack can contain either the zero element or one element or two element or something finite number. Okay, so as an abstract data type I'm defining stack with the two part. First one is the object and second one is the functions that are used with the stack. So the object is a finite ordered list with the zero or more elements. Okay, so the number of element obviously will be more than a zero or more than zero. When the elements are zero in the stack, we will say that your stack is empty. When your stack does not contain any element, I will say that stack is empty. If it has one or more than one element, then we can say that stack is not empty. Now, the functions that can be used with the stack. First one is the create s, means we have to create the stack. First function is create the stack. Now I will tell you later that stack can be created with two things. First one is the with the array or with the linked list. The both things can be used to create the array, create the stack. Second one is boolean. Now its return type is stack. You can say I have written here stack and create s. So stack is nothing but its return type. When you will create a stack, you will return stack to the calling function. Here I have written is full and the return type is boolean. Now this function checks whether your stack is full or not. This function check whether a stack is full or not. Let's suppose I have the size of a stack given, size is equals to 5, and already I have given the 5 elements. I have stored the 5 element in the stack and I want to insert the element 6th element. Is it possible to insert the 6th element? It is not possible because the size of stack is only 5. So whenever you are inserting an element, you have to check whether your stack is full or not. So if your stack is full, then you cannot insert the element. And if your stack is not full, then only you can insert the element. So this function check whether your stack is full or not. So this function is useful at the time of the insertion. Whenever you in the stack, insertion is called as push, and in stack deletion is known as pop. Push and pop. So push is nothing but insertion and pop is deletion. So from now onward, I will tell you in the terms of push and pop. I will not tell you say you insert and delete. I will tell you push and pop. Okay. So if the number of element in stack is equals to max stack size, I have already given max stack size. Matlab, what is the maximum size of stack? Okay. If this is the condition is true, we will return yes, your stack is full, otherwise your stack is not full. Now here I am trying to insert a push a element into the stack. So stack push, stack an item. Is stack full? From here I am calling this function. Okay, if stack is full, you have to say your stack is already full. You cannot insert the element. Else insert the element at top of the element. Now what is top? Whenever, let's suppose I have given a box whose one end is closed. Okay, whose one end is closed and second end is open. Whenever you insert the first element, it will come into the bottom. Let's suppose 5. Whenever you will insert the second element, it will come at the second top point. Whenever you, so it will inserted at the top of the last inserted element. So what is top here? The top variable is given to you. What is top here? Top is an indication that at which point you have inserted your last element. Now when your stack is empty, top will be here. So whenever you are implementing stack with the help of array, your indexing will start from 0, 1, 2 and 3. So top is indicating index number 0 when I have single element. Top is indicating index number 1 when I have 2 elements. So in the same way, the top will indicate -1 when your stack is empty. So whenever I have to check whether the stack is empty, we have to check the top, whether the top is -1 is not. If the top is -1 means in the array, in case of the C programming, your indexing starts from the 0 and the top itself indicating -1 means your stack is empty. Okay. So is stack empty? So that is the top. Top is a variable which indicates that at which position we have inserted the last element. So last element is inserted at position number 1. So insert the element into top of the stack. So let's suppose I want to insert the element at position number 2. I will increase the top by 1 and I will push the element here. Okay. So this is what the top is. Similarly, is empty will check whether the your stack is empty or not. In that case, if the stack is empty, you have to return true. Otherwise, you have to return false. Now, is stack empty is useful when you are deleting the element. Okay. Deleting means when you are popping some element. Why it is useful here? Because let's suppose I want to pop an element, but your stack is itself empty. It does not contain any element. So what will happen? So this is called the underflow condition. When you do not have any element in the stack and you are trying to delete an element, it is not possible. So this condition is called the underflow condition. In the same way, when your stack is full and you are trying to insert an element, you are trying to push an element onto the stack, then you will say that this is a overflow condition because your element is overflowing. I have not the capacity to store the element, so the element will overflow. So it is called the overflow condition. Okay. So is stack empty is useful in that at the time of the deletion. So this is all about the stack as an abstract data type. So I will define it in two terms. First one is the object and second one is the function. Okay. So some implementation is given here. Easiest way to implement this ADT using this one dimensional array. Now this ADT where your functions and objects are given, you have to implement as a programmer, you have to implement each and every function. So first implementation is 1D array. So what is 1D array? I've already told you that whenever we are defining some 1D array, the 1D array is defined with some data type, array name and size. So here the name of the array is stack because we are creating the stack, so we have to give the meaningful name. So in the space of the array name, we are writing stack. And size is max stack size. I have written here. Now what its meaning is? Its meaning is max stack size means what is the maximum size? It can be anything. It is user defined. Let the user want the size of the stack is 9 or 10 or 15 or 20, whatever else it want, you have to write in the max stack size. So the max stack size is the maximum number of entries into the stack. So whenever you are using the 1D array, the first element will be stored at the stack of 0. Similarly, the second element will be stored at the stack of 1. Similarly, the ith element will be stored at the stack of I minus 1. Okay. And initially, whenever you are first time you are creating your array, what you have to do? You have to initialize the top by -1. Because first you have to create the stack and then you have to insert the element. So when you will create your stack, while creating the stack, the value of top should be -1. When you will insert your first element, this top will be increased by 1, top will become 0, and this 0 is indicating the index of the array, and you have to store the element 5 here. Similarly, top will be 1, you have to store the second element, and so on and so forth. Okay. So the key point here is at the initial of the stack, when you are newly created your stack, the value of top should be -1. Oh. Here is creating a new stack. How to create a new stack? So while creating a new stack, what I have done, I have using the structure variable. I have defined the max size at 100. Means wherever you will write max stack size, it will be replaced with value 100 because I have used the macro here. Okay. Now the second one is type def struct. Means what I am doing, I am creating a structure with name struct. I am writing integer key. Key means nothing, the value I am inserting at each position. So let's suppose I have created a stack and I am placing 10 here, फिर 15 here, फिर 7 here, फिर 27 here, and so on and so forth. So this key is nothing but all these values. This is the first key, this is the second key, third key, and fourth key. Now, if you want to add some other fields, then you will add, otherwise leave it. This is the optional. Now, the type of this stack is defined with the element. Okay. So, I am writing here element stack max stack size. Okay. So what it will do, here is not elements, it will be element. Okay. So element is nothing but a structure. So this is the structure. This element is nothing, will be replaced by the struct. So this is the structure. The name of the structure is stack and its size is what? 100. So a structure will be created of size 100. Let's suppose I have created some structure and the size of a structure is of 100 size. Now each structure contain only one field. The other field is not mentioned here. It is optional. I am supposing only one field. So the first place of the structure will contain, it will contain what? It will contain the key. Only key all the place will be contained. So 100 places will be created which will contain only one key. So this is all about defining a structure, that how to create a stack. Have you got the point what I am telling? Element is nothing but the name of the structure. So a size of structure will be created, a 100 size structure will be created with name stack. And initially, since I have not inserted any element yet, I will declare int top is equals to -1. Is it clear? Okay. Now I have to check whether the stack is empty or full. Now stack is empty can be checked with this condition. When top is less than -1, less than 0, means only -1 is possible. Okay. So whenever the value of top is less than 0, because when top will be 0 means I have a single element in the list, because I am indicating the index number 0 and index number 0 is indicating the first element of the array. So this will be what? This will be top is equals to is less than 0. Now one more thing I have to tell you here, that when the structure has only a single field, in that case this structure will be just work like a key or work like an array. Okay. When it has only single field, then it will nothing but an array. But when it has more than one field, collection of similar type elements or dissimilar type element, then this collection is only one field, then array. If it has 2, 3 or 4 field, then it is not array. In that case, it is structure. Okay. Now, when this condition is satisfied, we will return true, otherwise we will return false, as I have told you here. Is stack empty. Now the second thing is stack full is nothing but when the size of the array will be max stack size and index is starting from 0, then obviously the last index will be nothing but the max stack size minus 1. If top is greater than equals to max stack size minus 1, then this condition is satisfied. If the top will be here or top will be greater than this, then your stack is full. You cannot insert the element, and this will represent the overflow condition. And this will represent underflow condition. Okay. Now, this is the way we have to insert the element. This is the way we have to pop the element. And the operation is known as nothing push and pop. Push means inserting the element in the stack, and pop means deleting the element into the stack. Now this is the way. Let's suppose I have initially given this stack. I want to push D. And obviously the push D will be placed at the fourth position. That is the index number 3. Now I want to insert the element E. And what I have to do, I have to increase the top by 1. It will start pointing the fourth index, and at the fourth index I have to push this element. Similarly, pop. Now in the push operation you have to give the data, that which data you want to insert. But in the pop you have to give nothing. Why? Because you will delete the top element itself. Top is indicating 4. So what I will do, I will delete this element and decrease the value of top by -1. So top will start pointing the index number 3. Again, I have to delete the element. So whenever we'll delete the top element, and this will be placed to the, and pop will start pointing this. So this is all about push and pop operation. So push is used to insert the item into the stack. Pop is used to delete the item from the stack, and top is nothing but the current location of the data in the stack. Right, where the current location of the data. Now this is the algorithm for the insertion. You can also write the algorithm in this form. So it contains the 4 parameter. The first parameter A is array itself. Second parameter top indicates that where is your current element, current last element into the stack. The top indicates that. The item indicates the element you want to insert. Here I want to insert the element number D. So this is item here. And the max is nothing but the maximum size of the array. So 4 things I am inserting from here. 4 parameter I am inserting. Now first I have to check this. Now in C programming, your indexing starts from 0. So when the size of this will be max, obviously this will indicate the max -1. But in some programming language, maybe possibly your indexing starts from 1. So in that case, your size will be max. at the last of the element. So it is considering this scenario. Okay. You can also use when top is equals to max minus 1 in the case of the languages like C. But if the array in some language supports starts from 1, then it will be max. So if top is equals to max, then print stack overflow, because we cannot insert the element at that time. If my array is already full, stack is already full, so we cannot insert the element. Okay, and at that time we'll exit from the program. Exit what, we will terminate our program, because insertion is not possible. Okay, else if this condition is not true, this will be false, we'll come to the else condition. We'll increase the top by 1. So let's suppose this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So top will be top plus 1. Top will start pointing the 4th position and will push D at this position. So this is array, this is the index of the array, and this is the item. So using the array syntax we can push like this. Similarly, I have to pop the element. So in order to pop, I don't require the max size of the array. I required only 3 elements. First, the name of the array, the top, and the item. Item which is deleted. Okay. Item to be deleted. This is the item to be deleted or to be popped. Okay. So if top, let's suppose I have already told you that this concept is assuming that the starting index of the array is 1. So when top will 0, what it will indicate? It will indicate that your stack is empty. In C like language, it will start from 1 itself, 0 itself, the array index start from 0. So when top is will be minus 1, then it will be empty. And here when top is 0, then it is empty. So what is top is equals to 0 indicate? Your array is already empty, your stack is already empty, so you cannot delete any element in this case. So you will print stack underflow. Otherwise, what you have to do, you have to place this A of top. Let's suppose I want to delete 15. So A of dot I am copying in the item. So item will contain the 15 element, and I will decrease top by minus 1. So top will start pointing 12. So here top indicates 12. Now I can print that which element I have deleted. So the element deleted is inside the item variable. So I will write print item as well. Okay. Similarly, I want to delete 12. So 12 will come inside the item. I will decrease the top by minus 1. Similarly, I want to delete the 10. So 10 will come inside the item. So at each iteration, I am deleting one element. And finally, when I have single element, top will indicate 1. At that time, top will become 0. So top will pointing this index and it will come out of loop, and this will be deleted. And this will be inserted inside the item. So this is the overall deletion algorithm for the stack or the pop inside the stack. Similarly, this is nothing but the C function for the insertion and deletion of the element. So corresponding to this is the algorithm written in some pseudocode, and this is the corresponding C function. So what I am writing? I am writing void push. This is nothing but the insertion function. Element is nothing but the type of element. You can write int, float, char, etc., etc. And this is item. So while inserting the element, I have to check if top is greater than equals to max size minus 1. So here this is the C function. So in the case of the C function, I am assuming max size minus 1, because max stack size is the maximum size of the stack. So max stack size minus 1 indicates the last index of the array. So if this condition is true, we have to execute the stack full condition. Otherwise, I have to increase the top by 1. What this instruction will do? It will first increase the top by 1, and after increasing the top, at the stack of increased top, it will store the item. Similarly, when top is equals to minus 1, then we will return stack of empty, which I have given already. Here, uh, stack of empty. So all these things I have, if this condition is true, it will print underflow. If this condition will true, it will print overflow. That's all. And if this condition is not true, we will return what? First we will return the element at the top, and after returning the element at the top, I will decrease the top by 1, because this is the post decrement and this is the pre increment. Okay, so this is all about the code for the stack, whether your stack for pushing the element or for popping the element from the stack. Now, algorithm for displaying the element in the stack. So I have to display the element, like I have written reverse in this order. I have inserted the element, and while traversing the element, I will come from top to 0. Okay. So if top already 0, then I will print stack is empty. That is the underflow condition. If the top is not 0, I loop will start from top to 0. Then what is top? Top is E. So first it will print E, after that it will print S using this print function. After that it will print R, after that it will print E, V, E and R. So this is all about this function. So traversing can be done from top to 0 in the reverse order. So the next one is the application of the stacks. So stacks are useful in reversing the string. How? Let's suppose I have given some name. Let's suppose Ashish, my name is given. How I will reverse this string? So what I will do, I will start pushing my name inside the stack. And top is indicating the top element. And this is 1. So what I will do, I will start from top to 0. I will start printing. Okay. So this is all about the reversing the string. For example, to reverse the string, the string is read from left to right. And its character is pushed like that. Okay. So this is what the reversing substring. Checking the validity of an expression containing nested parentheses. So parentheses can be checked. For example, I have written some expression a plus b c plus d plus e minus f plus g. So I have nested parentheses here. You can see that I have given various parentheses. So I have to check whether this parenthesis has been properly placed in the expression or not. So whenever I have, let's suppose I have given the opening of the big parenthesis, opening of the, whenever a closing parenthesis occur, I will delete this element. Again, this is the opening parenthesis, I will push the element here. Again, this is opening parenthesis, I will push the element here. Again, this is closing parenthesis, I will delete this element. Again, this is closing parenthesis, I will delete this element. Again, this is closing parenthesis, I will delete this element. So when you are traversing an expression from left to right, and each time you are getting a parenthesis, that is the opening parenthesis, whether it is big parenthesis or it is a curly braces or it is the small parenthesis. Whenever it is the opening parenthesis, you have to push inside this tag. And whenever a closing parenthesis occur, you have to pop the top element from this tag. If this stack becomes empty after the traversal of all the parentheses, so we will say that our expression contains the valid nested parenthesis. Okay. Otherwise, it is not containing the valid nested parenthesis. Okay. Similarly, you can check here. This is a valid parenthesis. Again, this is opening, this is closing. This is opening, this is closing. This is opening, this is closing. This is also a valid parenthesis. This is opening, closing, and opening, closing. This is also valid. So all these are the valid parentheses. Again, you can see that for this opening, this is closing, but for this opening, there is no closing. So this is not valid parenthesis. So we can also check whether the expression contains the valid parenthesis or not. So this is all the invalid parenthesis given to you. Evaluating arithmetic expression. Arithmetic expression is something like that. Let's suppose I have given some value 5 plus 3 multiply 7 minus 5 divide 6 exponent 2. So something, this is called the arithmetic expression. Or we can also write a plus b multiply c minus d divide e. So this is called the arithmetic expression. So the general way of writing arithmetic expression, whenever we are writing the expression in the form of a plus b, this is called the infix notation. Now in infix notation, operators always lies in between the operands. Okay. So this is called the infix expression. Similarly, when I am writing a plus b, means if operator is previously to the operands, then this notation is called the prefix notation. And when the operators lies behind the operands, because operand are previous and the operator lies behind the operands, then this is called the postfix notation. Okay. So in order to evaluate the arithmetic expression given in infix notation, what first I have to do? I have to first convert this infix notation to the postfix notation. Right? Like I have given this expression. So firstly what I will do, I will convert this infix expression into the postfix expression. Now, how this postfix expression will be converted? So we'll do it by step and step. Let's suppose I have given 5 minus 7. This contains the bracket. So firstly we'll convert this sub expression into the postfix. So 5 7 minus. Now it will considered like an operand. So which operator has the highest precedence? Obviously the exponent has the highest precedence. So we will write 5 plus 3 multiply 5 minus 7 divide, this is an operand, 6 to exponent. So this is, now when I have converted this sub expression into the postfix, this will considered like an postfix expression. So again this is plus, this is multiply, and this is divide. Obviously the divide and multiply has the similar precedence, so we will check the associativity. So multiply and divide is nothing but the left associative. So first of all we have to convert this 3 and this operand and this operator into the infix, into the postfix. So 7 5 minus and multiply. So in plus and in divide, divide has the highest precedence. So we will perform divide first. So it will be considered like an operand now. So 5 will come inside here in order to convert this operand and this operand in postfix. So this is all about what? This is all about your postfix notation. So what I am performing this expression into the postfix, and after the postfix what I am doing, from left to right I am inserting the element one by one. So initially 2 has occurred, I have insert 2, pushed 4 and pushed 1. 3 element has been inserted. And whenever an operand is occurred, operator is occurred, will pop top 2 elements. Let's suppose this is A and this is B. Now we'll perform A operator B operation. Now what is A? A is 1. What is B? B is 3. And what is the operator? Operator pushed is minus. So 3 minus Sorry, this is 4. 4 minus 1 will occur. So this will give 3. After the calculation of the 3, again we will push, because we have popped the top 2 element, only the single element has been left inside the stack. So with this single element, the result will be pushed again. So 3 has pushed. Again these 3 I have pushed inside here. So this will again the operator occur. So I will pop this element and this element. This is A and this is B. So what is A? A is 3. What is B? B is 3. So it will complete 9. So 9 will be again pushed inside this type. And finally I have the plus operator. So I will pop this element and pop this element. So what is A? A is 9. What is B? B is 2. This will conclude at 11. 11 will be pushed inside the stack. Now, whatever the element I am traversing from left to right, I have exhaust this traversal. Now, after the completion of the traversal of this postfix conversion, if I am leaving with only one element here, then this will our final result, 11. And this is called the, if I have two result onto the stack, then there is some errors. Either I have missed some operator or I have missed some operand. So this is all about the conversion. Expression conversion, I will tell you later that how to convert from infix to postfix, or how to convert from infix to prefix, and so on and so forth. So first what I have studied, first one is the reversing the string, reversing the string, second one is valid parenthesis check, third one is evaluation of arithmetic expression, and the fourth one is expression conversion from one type to another, from infix to postfix, from infix to prefix, from postfix to infix, and so on and so forth. In backtracking, I will tell you later that what is the backtracking. In backtracking, we also use this type. So one more usage is backtracking. Okay. So I will tell you later that what is the n-queen problem, what is the chess, what is the backtracking. Okay, I will tell you later. Backtracking is used when you have several paths. You have several paths and in these parts somewhere you have given some solution of a problem. Now in order to check the solution of the problem, obviously I have to traverse this path. But my computer initially will not know that whether this is the correct path or not. So what it will do, it will traverse each and every path. So it will come in this path first. If the solution is not found, it will backtrack. Again it will traverse the second path. If the solution is not found, we will backtrack. Now we'll start traversing this path. Here the solution is found. So I will write the solution is found in this thing. So backtracks are useful in algorithms in which there are several steps along some path from some starting step to the goal. This is our goal. I want to achieve my goal. So in order to achieve my goal, I am tracking each and every path. So this is what the chess problem will contain, what the n-queen problem will contain, what the checker problem will contain. You see na this point, checker problem. So let's suppose I have done some crosshair. What you will do, you will some zero will place here. Now it will start tracking that at which place I have to put the cross. Let's suppose it has put the cross here. Now in order to make, I will see that if I will place 0 here, it will make crosshair and it will start winning. So I'll put crosshair 0 here. Again, let's suppose computer puts crosshair. Now it has two solutions. If you will place 0 here, it will do some check here. It will place 0 here, it will start. So this is what these type of problems are called the backtracking problem. These type of games are also used the backtracking technique, because when the computer thinks, it thinks on the basis of the backtracking. Okay, so this is what about the backtracking is. Now some more operations are the undo operation. Let's suppose you are using some editor like Word you are using. You perform Control plus Z. Let's suppose for undo you are using this Control Z. So this undo operation is also performed with the help of the stack. Now what your previous stage is, let's suppose you have written Assis. Now I want Amit. So what I will do, I will delete this element. Now while deletion, this element, let's suppose, is pushed inside the stack. I have written Amit. Again I think, no, I have done right. I have done wrong here. I again want Assis. What I do? I undo this operation, and after the undo, again I get, without typing my full name, I get Assis. So what it do? It pop the elements from the stack and it put here. So the undo operation is also used with the help of the stack. Now, when you will study the compiler in the third year, syntax checking is also done with the help of the stack. Right? Whether you have written the right syntax of the instruction or not. For example, int a is equals to c. Is this the right syntax or not? So syntax checking is done with the help of the compiler. Int a is equals to 2. So this syntax, this structure of the instruction is correct or not, this is also checked with the help of the compiler. Obviously you have seen in the recursion also uses the compiler. Along with this, whenever you call some interrupt, let's suppose I am executing some function and this has 1000 line of codes, and after 200 line of codes I have moved to the second function, that is the function 2. So what will happen here? So the state of this function, the active state of this function, like the line number from where I have to start the execution, what the variables this function is using, all these things must be stored inside the stack. And when the execution of the function 2 completes, my control will come to the point number, line number 2001, 201, and all the variables that are using by this function will be popped and it will be placed here, and again this function will start executing. So this is what it is writing. Stack is used to keep information about the active functions or the subroutines, that which function is active. While function 2 is executing, function 1 is active, obviously, because I have not completely executed function 1. This is all about the stack. Thank you. So in this lecture, we have studied about the what is stack. Stack as an ADT, how to push and pop element, in a stack, applications of the stack, that's all. And full and empty condition of the stack also. Full and empty condition. So in the next lecture, I will tell you about the expression conversion, that how to convert the expressions and more about that. Thank you.